It is true. You see that right. I got into a fight with a Euro reg at the table. Stay tuned for that. Welcome back. Today we're heading back to Resorts World to play 2-5. This may be the most action-packed vlog I've ever had, and that says a lot. Here's my 10K challenge. I know I've been slacking on putting it up, but let's see if we can get there. We may make a huge dent in this, may get all the way there. Stay tuned until the end. Got some announcements at the end for you guys as well. You guys are going to love today's vlog. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Back to the promised land. Welcome back. The regular Hold'em content, I feel like I always start a vlog with a suited connector. This time, I'm actually cold calling a 3-bet out of the small blind. Highly don't advise this play, but we do it and we get rewarded. Just kidding, nothing. Fold that one. Let's get into the first real hand. And what a first hand this is, baby. Let's get into it. We look down at 7-10 of hearts, so when it folds over to the cutoff and he opens it up to 20, you know we're in there, some suited cards. I love him, baby, can't get my hands away. It's like a bad addiction. I put in the call, and so does the big blind. Going 3 ways to an interesting board of 7, 8, 9 with 1 heart. So we flop bottom pair, an open-ended straight draw, backdoor heart draw. We've got it all going on. Pretty good board for 7, 10 of hearts here. It checks to me, and I decide to actually take a stab here for $35. I think you should definitely check here. Don't like betting at all, but hey, this ain't a vlog of perfect play now, is it? And both players make the call. Okay, let's head to a turn, which is the deuce of diamonds. Doesn't help our hand at all, doesn't bring in any of those backdoor heart draws. Still just have bottom pair, open-ended straight draw. And when they check it to me again, once again, a clear check. But what do? Grab some chips like a fucking dumbass and bet $85. And why is this bad, you may ask? Because it opens the door for a fucking check raise. The big blind takes out $210 and shoves it up my ass. Ugh. And when the cutoff starts thinking forever, I'm like, what does he have? What could he be thinking forever? Maybe he has something like 10-9 for the top end of the straight draw and top pair. But when he eventually folds, once again, I think the clear decision here is a fold. So what do? Once again, I put in the call. I basically have the solver up in my head, and I'm choosing the exact wrong decision. So instead of GTO, I guess it's GT fuck no. But that's why this game is amazing, because when I put in the call, we get the jack of clubs on the river. So sometimes I guess clicking random buttons and choosing the wrong decisions time and time again will get you a straight. Look at that. So we've got about $650-ish left in our stack. There is a little bit less than that in the pot. I think if I'm doing quick math in my head right, probably wrong, but it's on the screen for you guys. Hoping now that he just jams and I just snap call, and I guess praying he doesn't have queen 10, but highly doubt it. And that's exactly what happens. He puts me all in. I snap call. Couldn't call any faster. And it seems like maybe my weird play worked, because before I even go to show my hand, you guys see him. He goes to muck his hand. Seems like he didn't really have anything, but we show the straight and we double up. Look at that. Sometimes GT fuck no is better than GTO. So screw you, grinders. On to the next hand. All right, time for an actual hand here. The third best hand, pocket queens. And I know somebody in the comments is going to be like, ace king suited is the third one, not queens. Literally, fuck you, dude. But it's the same formation as the last hand. The cutoff opens, but this time to 15. I decide to 3-bet to 60, and now the big blind decides to 4-bet to $200. Okay, let's pause and think about this here for a second. I just think it's pretty funny that sometimes I sit for an entire 5 to 6 hour 2-5 session and don't see one singular 4-bet. So I promise you, to everyone watching, it does not matter what games you play in, these are not light. So what kind of hands are we looking at here? Ace king suited, maybe some ace king offsuit, aces, kings, queens. Obviously we've got queens, so he probably doesn't have queens. And maybe jacks. I don't think pocket tens is 4-betting. And I mean, maybe jacks just feels handcuffed to put in that 4-bet out of position. So we're beating one hand, we are losing to 2 hands, and we're flipping with 1 hand. Okay, now let's look at our stack depths. I have about $1,600. My opponent has about $1,400, so don't really want to be flipping pre-flop for 300 of my own big blinds, a 600 big blind total pot. So that pretty much leaves one decision, never folding, don't really want to put in the 5 bet here. So flat calling it is. Let's go heads up to a board of ace 3-9 with 2 diamonds. Pretty bad unless he had pocket kings, pocket aces, and this is going to save us a whole lot of extra money. If the board was like 2, 8, 9 and he had aces and kings, probably getting stacked, but nonetheless, let's see what my opponent does here. He continues for 150 or 145, one of those two, can't count the 5s. And I know, it is super disgustingly nitty to fold pocket queens right now, but like I said, mixing in the fact that there are rarely ever any 4 bets at any of these live 2-5 games. This is not Texas. This is not some crazy home game. I think I'm just going to frustratingly let the queens go, only lose $200 in this hand. If he's bluffing, but he can't even have king, queen of diamonds or queen, jack of diamonds because we have the queen of diamonds. Another possibility down the drain, just more weighted towards ace, king, aces, and kings. If you got this through with jacks, congrats, my man, but just going to fold here. Let me know what you guys think down below. We then call a massive raise pre-flop with 6-7 of clubs. Like I said, I've got an addiction. We call a turn bet on a massive draw, and we brick it. So about minus 100 in this hand, and after our hot start, almost back to even, still up around 250, I believe. Just have to catch one good hand to get right back in the right direction. Alright, this is the hand that you guys have been waiting for, the title of the video. I got into it with a Euro reg at the table in this hand. And for those of you that don't know me, or those of you that have watched my vlogs, I just like to say that from New Jersey, being a younger kid growing up, I don't take shit. I am one of the nicest people around. As you guys see, I am so grateful for all of you guys. I always show gratitude, but if you cross me, if you do some shit, I'll be the first one to step up and say, fuck you. I don't take shit. I stand up for people. I stand up for myself. That's just how I was raised. It's how I am. If I see something, I'll always say something. And I want to hear your guys' opinions down below and what you guys think about this and what this guy did. And although I can't convey and show everything that he was doing at the table all in this one hand, I can sort of show you exactly how he is as a person and some little things he was doing in this hand that he was doing to everyone at the table. And it really affects newer people at the table, newer players of the game. So that's really who I'm looking out for, because I know what he's doing is scummy. I know what he's trying to do, so it won't affect me, but I like to stick up and speak up for others at the table. I don't want them to get fooled. I don't want him to trick them. So let's get right into the hand. I look down at Jack 8 suited and I open it up to $25 in the hijack, and just that guy in the small blind makes the call, going heads up to a board of ace 10 7 2 clubs. Not the best. We flop a gutter and that's all, but being the pre-flop aggressor and he's in one of the blinds, an ace high board is just so much better for me. Pretty easy to triple barrel and take these down. I decide to go big. I bet $50. I would like a big sizing with ace king and some other hands on this board, and he puts in the call, going to a turn which is the 5 of clubs. Obviously not a great card, but I am still going to have ace king with the king of clubs, kings with the king of club, queens with the queen of clubs. Just going to have the high club advantage on this board, so when he checks again, going to put in another barrel here. I bet $80, and I want you to look at his hands. He fake folds his cards. First, he looks at his cards, then he puts one hand forward as if he's folding, and that is not a normal movement. That is not something that anybody does. When you're checking your cards, you don't put one of your hands forward towards the felt. And you guys might be thinking, okay, what's the big deal? Well, he's trying to get a read off of me. If I think that he's folding or folded and I let out a sigh of relief because I'm bluffing, or depending on my facial reaction as to what I wanted him to do, obviously in this instance, if I was a newer player and I let out a sigh and said, oh, I was bluffing or something because I thought he was folding, he's obviously going to win the hand because he's going to be like, oh, I didn't fold. Here, I raise and I take it down. And it's just scummy to do, and I know what he's trying to do, so I don't move a muscle at this. I never make a reaction or move until somebody throws their cards into the muck. Never going to make a move if I'm thinking they're about to be folding, but after a little while, he does put in the call. and he was playing with his cards a lot, and his cards are sitting right at the top of the felt. Nobody ever keeps their cards there, as you see how far my cards back are from the felt. I just think he's trying to angle. He's trying to be a little scummy. You guys might disagree, but let's head to the river. It's the 10 of diamonds. Not a great card. He could be holding on with a 10. And here is scummy move number 2. He cuts out chips like he's going to bet and then checks. Lesson number 2. If somebody does this, it's almost an intimidation factor. They're cutting out like they're going to bet, and then they're like, oh, actually, I'll check. And if I'm bluffing or was thinking of bluffing, I might be second guessing myself now saying, oh, wow, he must have a good hand. He was going to bet. Now he's going to check. It would just throw me off my game or a newer player off their game and, kind of scare them into checking back. It's usually a sign of a super weak hand. Maybe he's holding on with a 5 or something like pocket 6s, pocket 7s and really wanting me to check back. But also, like I said, it is scum move number 2. Trying to angle, trying to get your opponent to do something. And again, guys, look, I know we're at the poker table and anything goes. And I mean, I'm all for the trash talking and stuff like that, but there's no need to angle and hold up the game and, try to get your opponent to do things. If you want to try to do something, try to talk to me at the table, get some wordplay, get some speech play in there, but don't do shit like this. And I do look younger. I do have a younger appearance. He pretty easily could be thinking, oh, I'm newer at the game. I'm going to try to, do these things to him. And I just think it's scummy. And again, I don't care if you guys disagree with me. It's my point of view. It's what I thought was happening. And you guys don't see all the other hands where he's doing this because it was like every single hand. But nonetheless, like I said, I sense weakness. I fire $225 and my read was right. He snap folds, and let's head to the audio, what you guys were waiting for.
You like to do a lot of shit to try to, see what I'm doing.
I'm waiting off of the flash, off of the straight.
You're like playing with your cards, you're counting your chips.
Trust me, no cheap P1. What's it all mean, man? What's it all mean? That's fish cookie, man.
It's scummy. It's scummy to do that.
If I was weak.
You know what you're doing. I'm not.
Oh, you mean like you're saying that's an angle?
Yeah, he's like playing with his cards. He's on the river. He's counting chips, then checking. You don't got to do all that. Just play.
This is how I want to play. You want to tell me how to play?
All right, you can't really hear him, but he's like, oh, you're going to tell me how to play? You're going to tell me how to play? Oh, I play how I want to play. You're going to tell me how to play? And I'm just like, you know what, man? After I clicked stop, I was like, you know what, bro? Just do whatever the fuck you want to do. Just stop doing this shit. It's annoying. It's annoying. And the guy to my left taps me, and he's like, thank you for saying something. He's been doing this time and time again. I got up to go to the bathroom a little while ago, and he was like, bro, I got into a hand with him. And it was the worst I've ever seen. I wanted to say something, but, thank you for saying something. And then not too long after, he actually got bad beat and busted and left. And a guy at the other end of the table that was actually sticking up for him at first was like, you know what? I see what you're saying now. After that hand, and he was thinking about it and watching him, he was like, you know what? He was scummy. And another thing I forgot to point out, if you look at his chip stack, all of his big chips are out of my view. I can't see them. That is another angle, and again, I think something purposeful. It's just ridiculous. I want to know what you guys think about all this, about this guy. If you guys would have said anything, what you guys think. But we've got some more poker to play. Let's get to the next fucking hand. We lose some money whiffing with these two suited hands, and then we play a pip down, but yet another suited hand. Told you guys I have a fucking addiction. King 9 suited, quite the interesting spot here, so let's get right into it. There's an open from under the gun plus 1 to 15. The player to my right calls, and we decide to put in that 3-bet to $75. Definitely could have some stronger hands here, but yeah, just showing you guys what I did. And the player to my left decides to cold call $75. Not what you want to see when you're 3-betting light. Don't ever want to see a cold caller. But the initial raiser calls and the player to my right folds, so going 3 ways to a flop. And it comes ace, king, jack. So not the board at all that we want to see. We are going to 3-bet some queen 10 suiteds. Obviously the aces, the kings, the ace king, so still should favor me as the 3-better, but going to have to proceed with some caution with 2 opponents in the hand here. The first player checks. I actually decide to check here. Don't really love a check. Should probably be c-betting 100% of the hands that I'm 3-betting here, even my 8s and 9s and 10s. But the player to my left checks as well, so going 3 ways to a turn, which is the 9 of clubs. We turn 2 pair. Amazing. Okay, we've backed ourselves into quite the situation here. should have the best hand, although there are some traps my opponent could have on the flop. And when the first player just leads right out for 75, I think this is a clear-cut raise with this bringing in a flush draw, but what do? I just put in the call. I guess it's not the worst decision, as like I said, my opponent still could have a better hand than me, so it's a little bit of pot control, as well as if he's bluffing, definitely want to keep those in going to the river, but again, just showing you guys what I did, so call it is, and let's head to the river, which is an ace. Pretty dicey card because on one side we get counterfeit, and if he has any ace, he's now beating us, but it does lessen the chance that he has an ace, which is pretty good. And now when my opponent continues for $200 on the river, I think for quite some time, because I just don't think this is an over bluffed spot. I don't think he's going to have too many bluffs here, but I do decide to flick in the call, and he shows queen 10 for the flopped nuts. Frustrating, but let's just head to the next hand. Okay, so clearly not playing the best, and after our double up, things are not going good at this table, so what do? I table change, and I never really table change. I know a lot of you guys always table change, try to look for the best games, but I just never do. I don't know, what are your opinions on that? But for the first hand, we look down at pocket fives, and I open it up under the gun to $20. Why do I do that? I don't know. And we get 3-bet right away next to act, or actually 2 players after that, or 1 player after that, sorry, to 105. Gets back to me, and I call 105. Why? I don't know. But going heads up to a board of 10-8-8 with 2 clubs. Not the best board, but I guess still ahead of ace-king, king-queen, ace-queen, etc., etc. So I check it over to him, hoping that he checks back, and he does. Nice. So let's go to a turn, which is a 10. 10-10, 8-8. So now we are behind ace-king, ace-queen. Nice. But when he checks back, I think it's just going to be, I don't know, a lot of over pairs. Like I said, a lot of ace-king, king-queen, stuff like that. I don't know, clearly some flawed logic, but I decide, you know what? Let's try to bluff at this. Let's try to get him off whatever hand he's got. I bet $55, think it's a suicidal bluff because if you guys remember, I opened under the gun. What 10 and what 8 am I going to have? I guess just Jack 10 suited is literally the only hand I may have, and I don't know if I open that under the gun. Might just say fuck it and limp, but anyways, I bet $55, and to no surprise, my opponent makes the call, going to a river, which is a 5. Okay, so now we beat ace high, but still lose to the 10s and the 8s. Weird spot. Do I check to induce a bluff? I think ace high checks back though, or do I just bet big to polarize myself and try to get called by ace high and obviously get snapped off and lose to a 10 or an 8? But I don't really know here. I've put myself in quite the awkward situation. I decide to just go big. I bet $220 and my opponent snap calls faster than I could even think, so fast. So I'm like, oh crap, I guess I'm beat. I show the 5s. You guys see my hands in the air like, am I good? What's going on? And he mucks and laughs and says, nice river. I'm like, okay, guess maybe he had aces or kings? Who knows? Let's go. We take it down. The guy to my left was laughing. He was like, oh, welcome to the table. I did not think you were good on that snap call. And I was like, me either. So, okay, have some renewed luck at this table. Let's see if we can run it up. Let's go. All right, getting to the action a little late here. We have ace 8 suited on the button. There was an open to $25. A few callers, and it's back to me on the button, and I complete. We flop second pair. No need to do any betting when it checks to me on the flop.
Oh, free card. Wow. Yeah, I shouldn't have let me in this one.
So I decide to check and bank. We hit the 8 on the turn. Should definitely have the best hand. A super disguised top trips. Maybe we can cooler something like 8-9, 8-10. Obviously 7-8 would suck, but little speech play here. I say you guys shouldn't have let me in the hand. This table was so much fun. The most fun I've ever had in Vegas, which is so funny because the last table was the worst I've ever had with that damn Euro reg. But it checks all the way over to the cutoff, the guy to my right, and he bets out for $150. Again, like a hand earlier in the session, I think this is a clear-cut raise, but I want to be super sneaky. There's a flush draw that comes in on the turn here. I think it's going to be very, very sneaky to just call with the 8, hoping he can bet out on a clean river and we can just jam or raise pretty big and get paid off, as like I'm saying, we're playing this super slow. It's very disguised in what we have, so I put in the call. Also, don't mind if other people come along, but nobody else decides to join the ride. Going to a river, which is a queen. Happy to see that no straights come in, no flushes come in, Very, very clean river. Hoping he has queen jack, thinks he's good, we can get paid off. But he decides to check here, so like I have always done and like I usually do whether I have bluffs or super strong hands, super polar, I decide to go big here. I bet $250. Obviously praying for the call. Will be kind of gross if he raises, but just never folding. But pretty apparent he's not going to raise when he hems and haws. Oh, what do you have? Oh, what should I do? Blah, blah, blah. After a long time, he decides to frustratingly fold. I let him know it was a good fold, show the ace 8, and let's head to the next hand. Okay, baby, time to wrap it up. 4-4-4. This hand is insane. We call another raise on the button, and bang, 3-4-9 rainbow. And oh my goodness, look at this. There's a bet 255 and 2 calls before it even gets to me. And now we have so many things to think about again. I don't think this is such a cookie cutter raise as you guys might think, because think about it, the board is 3-4-9 rainbow. What strong hands am I going to have here that I'm raising? I'm not going to be raising something like 5-6 suited, not going to be raising if I have a gutter with like ace deuce. I'm just raising 2 pair and sets, but I do think it could confuse our opponents because they would be like, oh, why would he raise a set here? And like I said with the last hand, we could flat call, but there are some pretty disastrous turns. If somebody like the guy to my right who is playing pretty crazy decides to just call here with something like 5-7 and then drills a gutter, we could be getting stacked. Slow playing usually just always screws me, so fast playing it is. I raise, but I don't want to go big at all. I do want to give these guys a good price to continue. Maybe they'll all call and we can bet massive on the turn. I raised to $150. Sad to see the first 2 players fold, but the guy to my right comes through. He gives us action, and we see a pretty dicey turn, the 6 of clubs. If he did have 5-7, he now makes a straight, but I don't think that's likely. I have no idea what hand he's calling a raise here with. Maybe he's got a 9, and that's still the top pair, which I'm happy to see. Hopefully he somehow has like 6-9 suited and we can get stacks in. Maybe he just turned a club draw. Maybe he just turned a straight draw if he had 9-5. Who knows? But when he checks, do want to continue betting, and I want to go bigger to just continue that polarized thought here. So I bet for 240, not as big as you could go. I think somewhere in the range of like 330, 340 would be big enough and would qualify for that big sizing. Guess this is just in between, but he does put in the call. Happy to see that. Going to a river, hoping it's clean, hoping the board pairs. Maybe it's a 9 and we can get money, baby. But it is a gross river, the 8 of clubs. That backdoor club draw comes in. So many straights are now available. If he somehow floated me with like 7-10 of clubs, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just overthinking this. And I mean, I don't know. This hand is just set up so weird and I have no idea what he's going to be calling me with. And I don't even think a 9 is calling. I think if we bet, we're only going to get called by better, not much better out there. But I mean, I think if he was going to bluff, he would just lead out here and we can just snap call. So when he checks, I think for the longest time, and decide to make a check back that I would consider nitty. Think I should maybe just block bet like 100, but that leaves the door open for him to just bluff jam his like 1500 because we are so deep. He covers me, and as you guys see on the bottom left, my chip stack is quite high. I don't want to get jammed on, but check back, show the set. We are good, and he later told me that he had ace 5 suited. So he called me with a gutter, turned the open ender, and thankfully did not get there because if he went runner to hit a gutter, yeah, that would be pretty frustrating.
Nice hand. Thanks for the action.
Good luck.
All right. I know your guys' emotions are all over the place from today's vlog, but after all is said and done, we made $2,230 today, which brings our grand total towards the 10K challenge to $8,135. If you guys could do some quick math, that means we only have to make a little over $1,900 to make $10,000 in our month and a half in Vegas. Insane. I cannot believe it, but here are some crazy announcements coming up. First, if you guys follow me on Instagram, Twitter, all over the place, I'm going on Hustler August 31st. Next vlog, I'm going to post my reaction after I found out that I was going on Hustler. Spoiler alert, I cried quite a bit. I think it's okay to show your emotions like that. You don't have to be too manly and not show your emotions because it means so much to me. I've been grinding for so long and it's just been a goal of mine since day one. So I'm gonna put on a show. You guys better be there to watch it. If you guys want to support me, you guys can stake me on Stake Kings, which means you could put in a little bit of money, sweat it out with me. If I win, you win. So that would be cool if you guys could support me on there. My last quick update, if you guys want to play online with me, Club GG, we play every day. A lot of PLO lately, a lot of gambling. You guys know I'm in there. I love gambling. So if you want to toss some cards online with me, the info is down below. As always, thank you guys for watching all the way through. I love you guys so much. Peace out.